recapping the time of our lives again. I'm Rob Booker, and we're here live. It's Friday morning, November 13th, Friday the 13th. Ooh. And we're gonna look at some end of week trades that went reasonably fantastic. We're also gonna make some coffee because I'm super tired, and because we love each other. And if we love each other, we make coffee for each other. That's the way it works. We're gonna bang on the keyboard a little bit on the Mexican peso, and we're gonna take a look together at maybe a few of the end of week trades that were just absolutely fantabulous and amazing. But the first thing I need to do is I need to drink some coffee. I have a glass of water right here, and that's just not gonna cut it. Is it rude for me to drink in front of you? No one's watching right now because you actually don't even know that this is on. Let's get some TFL members involved by jumping onto the Slack room and posting the link. There we go. Let me just grab this link right here. And that link should definitely be live. And got a question here in the TFL 365 chat room from Frank. Happy morning, says Frank 8888. Rob Booker, I know this is the Peso channel and perhaps inappropriate to mention here, but I loved your latest podcast. Dark Rob is the equalizer. It cracks me up every time you say, "Hi, this is Harry from One Direction." Thanks, Frank. That's really nice of you to say. That's really sweet of you to say. Welcome to the show. If you're just joining us now or you're watching the recording, my name is Rob, and we're going to spend some time here this morning looking at the peso and looking at some fantabulous end-of-week trades. We're going to answer your questions. Remember, there's a delay of about 30 seconds between the time that I speak and the time that you hear me, and that means that if we're looking at a live chart, my live chart will be 30 seconds ago, and you will have to travel back in time to see the exact thing that I'm looking at. That also means that we need to set everything up reasonably far in advance, or if you're a member of TFL 365, just ask your questions in the chat room and know that the answers are coming within a reasonable period of time. I'm going to check the control room here and see if any of our friends have arrived. And if they have arrived, if they can hear the audio, and if we're just basically having the greatest time ever, because I am reasonably certain that we are broadcasting, and I am reasonably certain that that everything is going all right. Yeah, yesterday when I started the stream, everything was kind of just working perfectly. I mean, it was really, really good. And I'm not exactly sure that that's the case right now. But I mean, I have no reason to believe there's no stream going on. I'm almost positive that there is a stream happening right now. I am just reasonably... Oh, it didn't start. Look at that. Yeah, so it doesn't want to start until right now. Yeah, that's absolutely fantastic. If you're just joining us now, or just about to join us now, my name is Rob, and this is a YouTube live show sponsored by Forest Park FX. If you're looking for a broker, you want to reduce your spreads, you want to get paid rebates for trading, you want to know which broker to put your money with, you don't want to flush your trading money down the toilet, they're pretty absolutely fantastic. So let me know if you're out there in broadcast land let me know if you're able to, let me know if you're able to hear the audio here. Morning, Lance. I am very excited to see you here. Good morning, Martin Conrad. So it sounds like we've got some audio, and it sounds like we are ready to roll. All right, what I'm going to do here is something a little bit less traditional, and we're going to get up and we're going to, oh, Martin can hear me in Malta. I am going to give this a shot here. I am going to give it my best try. And I think we're going to show. I think we're going to show my iPhone. And we're going to go take a little walk here. I think this is working, actually. Kind of in the dark here now. Oh, yeah, here we are. All right, so it's the morning time. And before we get started, of course, one of the most important things that we can do is we can drink coffee. I mean, you don't have to drink any coffee. I mean, it's just for me. But I'm not even sure you can hear me right now. Right, so we got to heat up the water here without killing ourselves. And then, Jennifer Thornburg, she sent me this really cool coffee device that I use. And we're going to give that a shot. Well, I mean, I give it a shot every day. So I'd love to hear from those of you that traded any end of week trades with me on TFL in the TFL 365 chat room. I'd love to hear from you if you took anything. So you put this little paper thing at the bottom, screw that bad boy in right there, and I stick that on top of a cup. Yeah, check this bad boy out. Check this shiz out. That's pretty cool. All right, so we did that. I'll lay that back down here, and then I'm not even certain that any of you are even hearing me, but that doesn't matter. We'll get to some Mexican peso trading in a moment. I was up at the crack of dawn today for you people. That's how much I love you Mexican peso traders. I got up at the crack of dawn. So I drop that scoop in there. Meanwhile, the water is boiling. Oh, look at that. The 5 things you need to know today email just arrived in your inbox. That's awesome. I hope you enjoy that today. And water's boiling here in my electric water boiler. Get a little spoon out right here. That's a big one. That's a smaller one. Can you hear the water boiling? I don't know if you can hear jack crap right now. So there's the water beginning to boil. That's what I feel like doing. My room was friggin' cold last night. It's only like 40 degrees. So I made the water too hot, actually. So now I'm going to burn the coffee grounds. If you're a coffee purist, you're going to throw me out of the Society for Coffee Drinkers of the World. Okay. So then you pour this down in this little hole. Yeah, I can smell the burned coffee. I'm going to stir it up a little bit here. Oh, yeah, it's burned. Thank you, Jennifer Thornburg, for this. This is amazing. Yeah, this is how I make coffee every day. I only really drink 1 cup. If I drink too much, that's probably not a good thing. Okay, so now that we've done that, then I stick this plunger down inside the hole. I plunge. Can you hear that? Listen to this at the end. Sometimes I make too much and it overflows. It's a real disappointment. Okay, I really should clean this out right now, but I'm doubtful that you all want to watch me clean up after myself, so let's get back to business. Oh yeah, we just made coffee together right on this broadcast, and now we're going to get to trading the Mexican peso. So I've got to switch this audio off so that you don't get your ears blown off. So as we walk back to my office, I'm going to turn off the audio here as we walk back in. Okay, here we go. And we're back. And thanks for joining me on that little adventure. So how is the audio? Did that audio actually work? We're back again. Welcome to the broadcast if you're just getting here now. My name is Rob, and we're going to look at some Mexican peso. Oh, yeah, great. So that all worked. Yeah, so it was similar to a French press, only with a paper filter. And kind of fun, actually. And that the very last part of that coffee that gets when you just ramming it down in there, that very last part, that smells so good. I'm kind of a little bit addicted to that smell. It's a little bit dangerous, maybe. Thank you for being here, friends. Let's take a look at some charts here. We're going to take a look at some end of week charts. Pulling up tradingview.com here. And there we go. Oh, look at that. Somehow in the background, you can still see my camera on the side. I don't really think that I intended to do that. Let's bring that down. I think I probably just ruined everything, but yeah, actually, I'm pretty sure that. Oh yeah, here we go. Yeah, it's all right. We'll figure it out. You all could see my screen. You could see the chart right there. Let's walk through some of these end of week trades that we had. These were pretty cool. We sold the pound Swiss yesterday. That worked out pretty nicely. It fell to the next month's ghost pivot and next week's ghost pivot. British pound Canadian dollar is not something we trade at the end of the week. It's something that we trade at the beginning of the week. So, yeah, and Nimmer, I'll get you one of these things. I'll actually send it to you. Just send me an email with your address. I'll send you one of these things. You don't need to wait until January. It's kind of fun. It's not expensive, and it's a whole lot of fun. All right, so let's keep going here. The British pound Canadian dollar won't be ready until next week. So None of that. British pound, Australian dollar, another end of week trade that was really beautiful inside of the TFL 365 end of week trade report. This is the Euro Turkish lira. I've got a bunch of positions on the Euro Turkish lira now, and I'm not going to lie to you. I'm a little bit frustrated with this currency pair, but it's going to get up to its next week's ghost pivot, and I'll get out of all those trades. This is the Euro New Zealand. Look at that. I think that I posted this in the end of week trade report. What a monster move that was. Euro Japanese yen. We did not post this in the report because it was too close to the pivot already. This is the Euro Canadian dollar. Not something we usually trade at the end of the week, something we usually trade at the beginning of the week, and still the same. What a great time that was. That was another great move. Oil inventories were reported to be I think higher than expected, and that sent the price of oil down yesterday, sending the US dollar Canadian dollar up and the Euro Canadian dollar up and whatnot. This is the Euro British pound, and that jumped up above the trend line and looked very nice. This is the Euro Australian dollar. That jumped up above our trend line and hit the ghost pivot for next week. This is the Australian dollar, US dollar. That dropped below a support level and fell to next week's ghost pivot. I actually didn't plan this inside of the end of week trade report because don't have an excuse for why I didn't do that. Australian dollar, Schweizer franc. Good morning, Mr. Bond. I'm sure that the enemy, the villain in Spectre, the new James Bond movie, I'm sure he loves to trade the Schweizer franc. This was a great trade. This was a glorious trade. Just beautiful. End of week trades are delicious. This is the Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, and it just isn't ready yet. It's not ready yet. So stop asking. Just kidding. It's just not ready yet. It'll be ready later. Later on, it will be ready. Yeah, so it's just not ready yet. Australian dollar, Japanese yen. That was a beautiful move. I did not even plan a trade on it. Australian dollar, Canadian dollar. This is not ready yet either. This will be ready on Monday or Tuesday. The coffee is so hot because I was talking to you instead of managing the burn situation. And there's the US dollar, Mexican peso. Here's gold. One last chart. Gold is bouncing, ramming up against a trend line and struggling to break it. Gold's having a problem. Like gold is definitely having a problem. Let's take a look at a steeper line on the Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar. Yeah, I mean, you could do a steeper line from the bottom. Yeah, steeper line from the bottom. Okay, you could do that line. I'm not going to do any lines. Anyway, I'm not going to do that. Although I think it's reasonable to do. This gives me all the indications. That currency pair looks exactly like a currency pair that is going to break my heart on a Friday. If you chase a counter trend trade on a Friday, you can chase it from the 1 minute or the 5 minute chart, and it will just go against you all Friday morning. And literally you will be like repeatedly getting into the same shiz and just feeling like terrible about it. Let's take a look at this one again. This morning, I even dropped down on an end of week chart to the 15-minute chart and the 5-minute chart. There's no divergence on these shorter time frames on this currency pair. And I just got to say, this just isn't, it's not ready. I would like to see multiple divergences here. I actually think that we may not move at all. or we may move up on this currency pair on Friday. And it just doesn't appear to be ready to me. If you're here with us in the TFL 365 chat room, let me know that you're here. You can do in the trade section or the random section, and everywhere else. Sky says he couldn't see the end of week report in the email or the app. Check the general channel, Sky, and you'll see it in there. I mean, it's there. It's definitely there. This is a great quote from Brett. Brett and Jim were talking in the TFL 365 chat room, and they were discussing performance. And Brett said, it's not a bad idea on tracking performance, Jim, but for me, I've learned that looking at results for a week plays with my head. I'm better at staying focused on making pips and getting paid. I almost said something that rhymes with paid. I don't know why I almost said that. And I think that's a completely reasonable comment. I actually do a little bit of performance tracking, but I actually prefer to do performance tracking straight from inside of the MetaTrader. I like to use just an app inside a MetaTrader that shows my profit for the year and whatever else. Let me show you what that looks like here. So what's the best way for me? I'm going to take a screenshot of it because that's a better way to do it. A screenshot is a better way to do it. Let's pull up that, and then I'll pull this up. I'll drag this thing over onto my screen. Okay, that was dumb. Yeah, there we go. This is going to work. What's going to work? Teamwork. Okay, so this is a picture of the performance tracking. It's Profit Info version 1.4.2 created by IceFX, www.icefx.eu. And as you can see here, this is my smaller account, and it just shows me anytime I want to look. Anytime I feel like looking, it shows me the daily, the monthly, or whatever. For those of you that already know this, in January 2015, earlier this year, I made a decision that I would transition to robotic trading. What's hilarious is that it didn't necessarily happen that way. I intended to transition to robotic trading, and what kind of ended up happening was I transitioned into end-of-week trading and Mexican peso trading. And I'm not unhappy about that. I'm just kind of fascinated by the fact that I was really convinced that I was going to be a purely robotic trader, and I still might go that direction. But I ended up testing 3 different things. 1, 2, 3. The first thing I did was robotic trading, and I've loved it, and whatever else. The second thing I did was end of week trading, which clearly has been the most consistent moneymaker for me over the course of the last 9 months or 10 months. And then Mexican peso trading, which is super consistent, but it needs to be done every day. And just, maybe. Call me maybe. Nimmer's posting a chart here. Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, says Nimmer, is at a critical level from the daily. I think it might drop before going higher. Let's take a look at Nimmer's chart. There's Nimmer's chart. Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar at a critical level. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. I got to say, that's a pretty good looking chart, my friend. Look at that level that it's at. It really is at a really important resistance level. And my sense is that it's going to break that level and go higher. And I know that I know that it didn't sound like I gave you a reason for that, but let me give you a reason for that. It's divergent here on the 60-minute chart on an end-of-week trade, but it's not divergent on the lower time frames. And there's not a really great trend line here. There's an okay one. I think that if this breaks the highs, this could go a long way upward. Long, long way. Now, it might bang up against this level for a little while. But I don't like a sell trade here, although it looks practically speaking, and end of week trading wise, it could work. I'm just not ready for it yet. All right, it's time to move over to taco. It's taco time. Hello, everyone. It's taco time. Let's take a look at the charts here. It is now 5:21 a.m. my local time and 7:21 a.m. New York time. And we're going to take a look at the trend trade on the US dollar Mexican peso. It is almost 7:30 a.m. All of our best friends are here from around the world. We've got friends from Malta, Germany. Haha, not just kidding, not Germany, because YouTube Live is not allowed in Germany. Now I have the hiccups. This is not going to go well. Could you tell me where you're joining us from if you want to in the chat box on YouTube Live, or you could say so inside the TFL 365 chat room. It'd be great to see where you're joining us from. It's time to do some Mexican peso stuff. Thomas F. says that it's going sideways in sort of a channel. Maybe we'll drop back down since it hit the top. Michael's spread on Oanda is 86. FXCM's spread, says Jeff, is 38. And Harold says there's a spread of 23 on Pepperstone. That's pretty amazing. If you want to get in touch with Justin Hertzberg of Forest Park FX, he will help you get set up with a account with a good spread. This presentation, actually, this YouTube live show is sponsored by Forest Park FX. Forest Park FX is an introducing broker. You don't pay them. The broker pays them, and they refer you to a broker that best fits your needs. When the broker pays them, they pass on the lion's share. Roar! They pass on the lion's share of that money to you in most cases. And I don't really like suggesting brokers because I don't really know what the heck I'm talking about. But Justin is really good at it. You can find them at forestparkfx.com. Tell them that Rob Booker sent you. Let's take a look at the Mexican peso now. This is incredible because it's just been going sideways again. There is no clear trend here. I mean, now today of all days, you got to agree with me. This is no trend. This is no way to treat a trend. You've got a trend. You just call out my name. And you know wherever I am, I come running. 'Cause you've got a trend. All right. Recently, Mark Maron of the WTF podcast actually interviewed James Taylor, by the way. And I suggest you listen to that. It looks like the US dollar Mexican peso is jumping up this morning. When there is no trend, you do not need to trade in only one direction. Hello, this is Harry from One Direction. So you could trade in either direction. Either direction. Either, neither, neither. Let's call the whole thing off. I don't even know why this line was here. Why was you here, line? Oh, look at that. I don't know that. I don't know, Miss Daisy. I'm just trying to drive you to the store. That is not a great line. White lines. So I think that we got rid of the line that we didn't want. And I think that we might replace that line with a line. We'll get a line on the program here. And there it is. And I think you're looking right now at a possible breakout higher on the US dollar Mexican peso. It's not quite 7:30 a.m. New York time. I hate the 7:30 a.m. trade. I invented it. But I really don't enjoy the 7:30 a.m. trade as much as I enjoy the 12 p.m. reversal trade, which we don't do on a Friday. And it does look like it's breaking out higher. Let's see what we've got going on here in the Chicagoland, Fort Lauderdale, Pittsburgh. Nice. Nimmer just bought the US dollar Mexican peso. I think that's a completely reasonable thing to do. Let's go back to the 7:30 a.m. taco time. I think that's completely reasonable, which is how they say reasonable in France. That would be a reasonable thing to do here. Yeah. And why would it be reasonable, you ask? Because the US dollar Mexican peso is breaking above a trend line. And there is no clear trend over the last 24 hours. And so buying it is really no worse than selling it. Your stop loss could go in a couple of different places. Below this low is probably your best bet to start with. You could also be super brave and put your stop loss underneath that second candle back. That's not a bad idea. Fridays are not the best day for trading the US dollar Mexican peso. Not the best day for really trading anything, as a matter of fact. But it's not bad. I mean, we're gonna spend some time here this morning together. I mean, if we got anything, we got ourselves some time, and we should sit here for a bit and just give it a chance to move in the right direction. Hi, this is Raja from Right Direction, and yeah, I like the way that looks, Nimmer. I mean, it's certainly there's no reason to believe that the U.S. dollar won't strengthen. Interest rates are going up in the United States in December. Oil prices have been going down, for goodness sakes alive, and for the benefit of our good friend Nimmer, I hope that oil prices recover. I'd pay higher gas prices just so Nimmer can do better at work. I'm kind of interested in Amazon right now. I know we're not supposed to be looking at that right now, but Amazon's dropping in pre-market. I'm short Amazon, and I would really like to see Amazon drop further. Let's go back to the US dollar Mexican peso. I'm really interested in where some of these things open up today, some of these stocks. The stock market had a bad day yesterday. That's sometimes a good indication that the US dollar and the currency market are going to have a good day. Good day, sir. When the stock market goes down. Although yesterday the stock market was down and the US dollar kind of fell as well against the US dollar Japanese yen. A lot of people were confused because they think that those work in the opposite directions, but they don't. Hello, this is Stan from opposite direction. This is Larry. All their names. Larry, Harry, Gary. Hello, this is Gary from opposite direction. Man, that Mexican peso is just nicely moving. Let's make a shot here. Let's make a brand new shot. No, that's not what I want to do. Let's delete that shot. Make a new shot here. And let's see what we can do here. Yeah, that looks good. No, yes. Yes, no, yes. Apply that. Okay, and then we're going to pull that in. That looks beautiful. And we're going to pull this in. But we're going to make that, we're going to make this smaller. Okay, that was a complete. All right. All right, we'll try that again. So make this smaller. And then we're going to add that. Yeah, that was unfortunate. Let's try that again. This time it'll work. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, that's kind of interesting. Yeah, there we go. I just realized now that probably the audio didn't work when I made that fancy looking shot. You gotta get the audio right every single time on this stupid broadcasting shiz. So if my audio just went out for a minute, I apologize for that. But we're back now. I'm back now. Let's do it the responsible way. And let's just take a look at the screen here. I'll zoom in a bit here, get a little closer with Air It Extra Dry. So like yeah, I don't know what your problem is, Mexican peso, dollar Mexican peso, but it's time for you to move the shiz on up. Get this show on the road here. Nimmer just covered the spread on his long. Nimmer is shooting for 16.884 or lower, depends on the news. There's a lot of news coming out this morning, so Nimmer's profit target is way up there. Oh dear. Oh boy. Oh my. That is a giant profit target. Skylar wants to know if Mark knows an older fellow named Lee Baker from Barnwell. Hello, this is Lee Baker from Barnwell. Barnwell sounds like a band that tours with Mumford & Sons. Barnwell and Mumford & Sons live at the U.S. Amphitheater Arena Tuesday. This coffee is getting cold now. So Mexican peso, please move your. The Mexican peso zone is for loading and unloading of passengers only. See if there's any questions, comments, or jokes in the TFL chat room. Mark does not know Lee Baker from Barnwell. Lee Baker, Mark, is the bassist for Barnwell. He took over for Joe Baker, who died suddenly of a terrible shrimp accident. So let's take a look at Pete, the gap this morning in fall, blah, blah, blah. Ed says there could be technical, blah, blah, blah. And Bill got out of CAG at break even, so all is good. Yeah, none of that was interesting. And let's check out the trade section, see what's going on here. Yeah, so Jason Smith cannot watch in Germany because YouTube Live is not available in Germany. Good morning, Chris O. Nice to see you here. Nice to see all of our peso friends. Jeff P. uploaded a chart. Let's take a look at Jeff P.'s chart here on... Oh, he's looking at the hike. I think Jeff P. has the hike and ashi candles. Oh, yeah. Check this out, Jeff P. You know, let's do a little bit of hike and ashiism. Oh, my. That's the Renko. You can do it with Renko. These are the Kegel candles. They're not even showing up correctly. Haikanashi. I love these Haikanashi candles. Have you folks ever used these? I love these things. They are somewhat 1,000 gajillion% beautiful. They really are. I always call them the Heineken candles, but yeah, Haikanashi candles are really quite something. I never really know how to read them, but yeah, they're really nice. You can actually get in on some trades with the Haikanashi candles a little bit earlier than you can with regular candles. But Haikanashi candles, that's like mixing Japan with Mexico. I'm not sure if that's a responsible thing to do. But those candles look nice. Nice job. I don't know why they didn't. Oh, yeah, they're right there on my screen. Yeah, so if you're also looking at these horizontal bars on my screen, those are the Palladino time sessions. We're going to put those in the Rob Booker TradingView package. Thanks to Andrew Palladino for building those. All right, finish my now lukewarm coffee. It's no big deal. Yeah, not a lot of spectacularly interesting activity here on the U.S. dollar Mexican peso right at this moment. Some of you bought it just a few minutes ago, and some of you have some pretty exceptional targets on this. The noontime trade is my favorite. Let's do a little bit of a review of how things looked at 7 a.m. this week, 7:30 a.m. this week. All right, all week long, we had, I would say, a trend a couple of days, and then the rest of the days we were back and forth. This is 7:30 a.m. yesterday on Thursday, November 12th, and I said that the trend was mildly up, maybe side to side, and many of you agreed with that. And yesterday morning at 7:30 a.m., you bought. I said the trend was sideways and you could buy it or you could sell it, and many of you chose to buy it. And that was a buy trade that jumped up about 200 to 300, 400 pips, and many of you grabbed some of that profit and you went. Now, Wednesday's 7:30 a.m. trade was easy because the trend was clearly down, and I have stringent requirements for the definition of a trend. It really has to be moving from left to right in one direction. Hello, this is Larry from One Direction, and I've had a little bit too much to drink. And the trend was clearly down, and that meant that at 7:30 a.m., the goal was to look for any way to sell this bad boy. And that's exactly what many of you did at 7:30 a.m. Congratulations to you. Congratulations on your trade. Thank you for joining us. And I'm super happy that many of you got in on that sell trade. Mark Baker says Barnwell is an Albertan town, Rob. It's sacred to all Albertans. Do not joke about Barnwell. Okay, no problem. I'm so sorry. Barnwell, Alberta. Barnwell, Alberta. Barnwell, Alberta is a village in southern Alberta, Canada. It's located 10 kilometers west of Tabor and something east of Lethbridge. They spelled left wrong there. Along the crown. Jeez, these are some hard words. They get some words in my mouth. Let's see. Let's just look for pictures of Barnwell, Alberta on Google Images. Barnwell, Alberta. So we got the family in the car. We all went down to Barnwell, Alberta, and the village of Barnwell, located in Alberta. Barnwell School. Barnwell Heritage Park. Oh, look at this beautiful lady in front of the Village of Barnwell sign. Torbjorn Vidrock of Barnwell, Alberta. I'm going to tell you something absolutely certain about Mr. Vidrock. He absolutely never woke up at 4:30 a.m. to trade the U.S. dollar Mexican peso. That guy. And here's where Barnwell is. Hey, do any of you know Lee Baker from Barnwell? That looks like a pretty much in Montana, actually. Clearly, Barnwell has corporate limits. So that's good. They got corporate limits. I think corporations are far too powerful. This looks like one of the housing developments in Barnwell in the background here. These look like the smaller homes, and these look like the larger homes lived in by the very, very rich people, the Wheatons. Okay, let's just go back to the charts here. So that was Wednesday. Wednesday's trend was down, and so that was a sell trade. Let's go back to Tuesday. So the thing you got to know about Tuesday is there was no trend on Tuesday. Yeah, that's right. No trend. It was just up and then down, sideways, up. Prognosticators of prognosticators. Seer of seers. Puxatawny Phil. So I'm pretty certain that it didn't matter on Tuesday. It didn't matter on Tuesday if you bought it or you sold it. You betcha. Either way was fine, don't you know? And I think that a brilliant trade that many of you took, I remember this. I remember what you all did. You sold this bad boy, and you sold it down to the support levels. It didn't really matter if you bought it or you sold it. You just had to wait. You just had to wait for the confirmation, don't you know? And the sell trade came first at 7:30, and many of you took that trade. This is Monday. On Monday, I would say, or this is Friday. Maybe this is Friday. I don't really know. I don't know, and I don't know, and I don't care what you got inside your hair. This was Monday. On Monday, we had quite the move, and I started watching Fargo season 2. So I got all that accent in my head. What was I saying? Okay, so just in case I didn't hear myself, let me repeat myself from the beginning. We went up on Friday on the jobs report. That was a blockbuster. And then on Monday, we drew a trend line across the tops of the candles. I mean, there was only one direction to trade this on Monday. Hello, this is Larry from the upward direction. Upward direction, and we're no longer on tour. We can't stand up. And this just got a whole dose of Viagra after that and just shot to the moon. The 7:30 trade all week long was reasonably easy to do. And I would argue, although I don't like arguing, I would argue that today is no different. Today we are canceling the apocalypse. Yeah, I think that you could go ahead and go along with Nimmer. And where would you go for a profit target? I mean, there's a couple places you might go. Maybe the mid section, the torso of this move, or the recent high, yesterday. That looks like a pretty good idea. Let's take a look what's happening on the live dashboard. What was in my coffee? I don't know. I'm going to know what's in my coffee. Let's see what's happening in the TFL chat room. Skylar grew up there in Barnwell. I sensed that about you, Skylar. Let's look what's happening in the trade section. Yeah, Jason, it's so sad that Jason cannot watch the live stream because he's in Germany. Nimmer says, once again, the Australian dollar might fall and it's at a critical level. May drop before. Excusez-moi. Qu'est-ce que vous savez ce weekend? What are you guys up to this weekend, my friends? Mon ami, mes amis, since we were talking to people that live in Canada. Qu'est-ce que vous faites ce weekend, mes amis? That means, hey, what you got on the haps this weekend, my friends? Yeah, that's a pretty interesting looking chart. So that's really not going anywhere, and watching it was getting a little bit boring for me. I'd love to answer any questions that you have about Mexican peso trading. We are in a Mexican peso webinar. It's so funny. If I do this thing on GoToWebinar, 275 people show up. If I do this thing on YouTube Live, like 14 people come attend the event. And YouTube Live is like 25 bajillion times more interesting and interactive and more funner. It's more fun town. I didn't take a shower this morning. Oh, I needed the whole cup of coffee and I didn't get it. It's kind of cold. I might just go ahead and drink this. Oh, that's terrible. Okay. So let's just review some some cose importanti per tutte le persone che parlano italiano. So for all of you that speak Italian, let's talk about some important things. If you don't speak Italian, just pause the webinar. If we dropped back down to this level here, that could be a buy trade with a really tight stop. I don't know if that's actually going to happen though. I'm not exactly certainly it's going to drop down. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to drop down, but if it drops down, you could buy it off of that bounce with a tighter stop and then ride that sucker up. But the thing about the Mexican peso is, here's the thing about the Mexican peso. Once it starts to move in one direction, hello, this is Gary from Upward Direction, you don't necessarily get much of a reversal all the time on that 7:30 a.m. trade. Sometimes it just jumps and just goes. And yesterday was a pretty good example. It jumps. It did pull back a bit. Did it pull back on Friday? Yeah, it pulled. I mean, on Thursday, it pulled back on Thursday. Did it pull back on Wednesday? Yep, it did pull back on Wednesday, and it did not pull back on Monday or Tuesday. Okay, so some days it will pull back, some days it won't. So it looks like usually it does. I think that if you are in this buy trade, then one thing to keep in mind is that a pullback is 50% or more likely to happen. And that's an important thing to remember. Live dashboard on YouTube. I can't believe that is so interesting that in those webinars we have 270, 300 people on those Mexican peso webinars. But on a morning like this, when it's just bright and squirrely and everybody's just so happy to wake up and do a webinar, no one really came. I mean, a few of you came. Okay, so here's the deal. Here's the thing about what's going to happen next. What's going to happen next is I'm going to entertain, not you, you're going to entertain me. You're going to entertain me with some of your questions about the Mexican peso. And since there's a 30-second delay here, we'll just give you a chance to ask some questions. And while we ask for your questions, I'm going to experiment with some shiz. I wonder if I can show you a video. I wonder if that's even possible. I wonder if add video shot. What is a video shot? Does that mean I could actually show you a video? Like from yesterday? I'm actually going to try this shiz out here. I'm going to try this out. I'm going to see, while I'm waiting for your questions, I'm going to see if I can play this video. And I would love to know if you can hear the audio on this video when I play it. What I'd love to hear is if you write me a message and say, yes, I heard the audio on that video, or no, I did not, or it was all jacked up and bizarre. Hi, everyone. It's noon New York time, and it's time to trade the Mexican peso. We had an earlier segment of this webinar, but our co-presenter, Justin Hertzberg, ended the webinar when he left. And that was super unfortunate. But I did capture that recording, and I'm going to review everything that was said earlier. Right. I'm going to review that stuff again. We talked this morning about a few of these things. Let me go through them one by one. And the first thing we talked about was the fact that the Mexican peso has gone up and down and down and down and up and down again, and that there's been no clear trend over the last 24 hours. And when I say look at the last 24 hours, what I mean is look at the last 24 hours from the moment you're looking at the screen right now, from 12 p.m. to 12 p.m. Like that audio is That's a perfect idea, exactly sure, and that works beautifully. We also talked about the importance of moving your stop to break even at 200 to 300 pips or taking your profit. Not exactly sure about I've never been very good at trailing my stop. It's never been something that I did very well. And I think that it's important to know what your strengths are. I also got a question this morning from someone who said, did I want to trade the wedge pattern? I don't know where the wedge pattern is on this chart. Sharing my screen here. And I don't know if that played that. I don't know what happened. Oh, look at that. Nice job, Mexican peso. Way to go. Oh, wow. So you could see that video and everything. Wow, that's pretty awesome. All right. Thank you for letting me know. I think the video audio just wouldn't stop playing. Someone's asking me why I trade with Oanda and not FXCM, even though Justin recommended FXCM. Actually, I'm going to talk to Justin about it and get myself all situated. So, yeah, Justin knows what he's talking about. It's always better to trust Justin's advice about brokers over anybody else's. If you're long the US dollar Mexican peso, let me know. If you got a question about the US dollar Mexican peso, I'd love to hear that as well. And we'll switch over here to the live dashboard. I'm going to check it out. This is Martin says, Rob, feel this YouTube session is not scheduled early enough on the emails. I only just saw it. Martin, we sent an email out last night, like 12 hours early. Yeah, like 12 hours early. So Martin, yeah, just way early, super early enough. Mark says, what size of trade do you usually trade on the US dollar Mexican peso? That is a supremely awesome question. So let's take a look at the charts here. So what size do I trade on the US dollar Mexican peso? For every $10,000 in the account, I would recommend a 1 mini lot trade. And I would recommend, as you become comfortable with it, 2 mini lots, 3 mini lots are completely acceptable. I think you could get up to 5 or 6 mini lots per $10,000 for trading the Mexican peso. And I would be comfortable at those levels, especially since you're going to stop out early if things go wrong, and you're going to have, generally speaking, more winners than you're going to have losers. So I hope that helps out. When is Rob Booker the Musical coming to Cincinnati? Coming to Cincinnati, to the Cincinnati Molson Golden Convention Center. Rob Booker the Musical. Chris says he's covered the spread on his buy trade on the Mexican peso. Nimmer uploaded another picture. We're gonna upload this picture. We're gonna show this picture right now. This is Nimmer's picture of the U.S. dollar Mexican peso. It's getting close to an area where Nimmer is looking for maybe a reversal back down and then a move all the way up to the 1.618 Fibonacci extension zone. And that looks pretty amazing. So Nimmer, it looks like you would be willing to hold on to this even as it retraces a bit against you. Others here may not be so excited about that, but I think that's a completely reasonable thing to say. Thomas says in profit over 100 pips. Nimmer's up over 100 pips on that. Skylar says call Wall Street and ask them to go long too. Let me do that right now. Rob, with daylight saving stuff, do you think the 7:30 is now 8:30? If everyone in the chat room decides to buy all at once, we may get a bounce higher. I think 7:30 is still 7:30. I changed. No, it's not. As long as it's 7:30 in New York, those traders are sitting down early to work. And working off of New York time is the best way to do it. I'm pretty much convinced after a year of looking at time changes and everything else, Nimmer, that the 7:30 trade is still the 7:30 trade. Because they're still getting to work at 7:30. So they just, got to work at whatever time was necessary. We may get that pullback that we were looking for. This is the pullback that you were looking for. And don't be surprised if the Mexican peso now commences in eliminating all of the profit that you have currently, dropping to the trend line, and then launching off higher, or even dropping further than that. Don't be surprised if that happens. Or do be surprised. I don't care if you're surprised or not. I don't care. Surprise yourself if you want to. More comments are below. Let's check out some comments. Need a webinar type notice or you will do it every day? Oh, Martin, dear Lord. Martin, seriously, I send you an email and gave you a link, and it was 12 hours in advance, and then I posted it all over the chat room. Get your shiz together, bro. I'm not going to send you 47 reminders. I'm not your mother. And I love you, Martin. And I'm so happy to see you here. You can see me. I'm smiling. Martin, I'm smiling. On the inside, I'm not smiling. But on the outside, I'm very happy. I'm super happy. Yeah, I'm very happy to see you here, everybody. This U.S. dollar Mexican peso trade is glorious. This really is beautiful. Nice job, Nimmer and Chris and everybody else that got involved in this. Well done on this trade. Very happy to see that you did that. I didn't get a lot of questions. Skylar just closed. Yes, nice job, Skylar. Just closed yours in profit. You'll jump in on a pullback. Way to go. Hi, Ron. Good morning. Peso trader Ron. Nice to see you in the chat room. Who else took this U.S. dollar Mexican peso trade? That would be nice to know. Let's finish off with a few words. Been reading a book called Relentless. I've also been reading a book called The Guide to Rational Living. And just wanted to share with you some thoughts from this book. From good to great to unstoppable. Now, I'm gonna say for the record that this book isn't necessarily the greatest book ever in the entire world. But I do like some of the messages in this book. The book is called Relentless by Tim Grover. It's about being a competitor and refusing to have limits. And I want to leave you with this thought on Friday. And I like this thought that everything that you need to be great is already inside you. All of your ambition and secrets, your darkest dreams, they're waiting for you to just let go. I've noticed that a lot of traders, as they become successful, give up on some of the older dreams they had or the plans they had to make a certain amount of money within a certain amount of time. And they let go of a lot of the requirements or the ideas that they had about being successful. And they stop thinking about tracking their performance on a day-by-day basis or even a week-by-week basis. In some cases, they still do that. But they let go of that. And what they do is they just reduce their trade size and they stop thinking. Stop thinking about it. You know, just trading the Mexican peso this morning didn't require you to overthink it. They place no limits on themselves. And so they don't say, oh, I'm going to only make a certain amount, or I have to make a certain amount. I've noticed that I know that all I need to do is a little bit less than 1% per week. That's all I need to do. But if I blow through that number, that's fine too. You don't want to limit yourself necessarily, especially when you're trading the Mexican peso. And success isn't the same as talent. The book goes on to say the world is full of incredibly talented people who never succeed at anything. They show up, they do what they do, and if it doesn't work out, they blame everyone else because they believe that talent should be enough. It's not. If you want to be truly successful, you can't be content with pretty good. You need to find an extra gear. Charlie Munger said that the most successful people that he's come across in his life were people who were learning machines. And I think the second indication of whether or not someone's going to be successful is that they have this philosophical approach of they're relentlessly going to continue to improve until they get what they want. And I've noticed that about some of you, that this year reduced your trade size, started focusing on one particular trading system, and forgot about just whether or not you had enough talent to succeed or whether you were as good as someone else that you were looking at. I'm really grateful for the time we had together today, and look forward to doing some of these again. If you liked doing these, send me a text message. Write to me. Send me a text. Let me give you my give you my phone number again. Let's see here if I can pull it up on the docs. So yeah, if you enjoyed the session, send me a text, 304-281-8332. You can send a message on WhatsApp as well. I'd love to hear from you. If you're watching this recording on YouTube as well, that's great too. I'd love to hear from you, that you got all the way through it. You got to the end, and we were here together. And we're getting that pullback on the taco, so be careful about that. Watch for that pullback and that bounce higher. My name is, what is my name? Who am I? My name is Rob Booker, and you've just joined me for a TFL-TV presentation, Trading the Mexican Peso. I will see you sometime next week for another round of these presentations. Bye for now, everybody. Have a good one.